To the outside world, they seemed to have built the perfect life. A successful business, a growing family, and a respected name in Houston's restaurant community. Then, in less than a day, everything changed. For lives were lost, an unborn child was never given a chance, and an entire city was left searching for answers. This is the tragic story of Mitchell, a case that shocked Houston and remains filled with heartbreaking questions. A family that seemed to have it all. Before looking at what happened, it's important to understand why this case affected so many people. Mitchell wasn't only known as a restaurant owner. Friends and colleagues described her as someone who worked hard, welcomed people with kindness, and helped build one of Houston's most popular dining destinations. Alongside her husband, Matthew Mitchell, she helped create Traveler's Table, a restaurant known for serving dishes inspired by cultures from around the world. The restaurant quickly became a favorite among both locals and visitors. It received attention from major food shows, earned industry recognition, and later expanded with a second restaurant. By 2025, the couple had even been honored as Restaurateurs of the Year by Houston's restaurant community. People who worked with often spoke about her energy and leadership. She had recently joined the board of the local Texas Restaurant Association chapter, and only days before the tragedy, she had helped host an important gathering for restaurant owners. From the outside, life appeared to be moving in a positive direction. That is one reason this story became so difficult for so many people to understand. The welfare check that changed everything. The tragedy wasn't discovered immediately. According to authorities, concern began after people close to the family were unable to reach them. A babysitter reportedly received no response to messages. Family members also tried making contact but couldn't get through as more time passed without hearing from anyone inside the home. The silence became unusual enough that police were asked to perform a welfare check. When officers arrived at the family's home in Houston's River Oaks area on May 4, 2026, they entered the house and made a heartbreaking discovery. Inside were Matthew Mitchell, and their 2 young children, all deceased from gunshot wounds. Authorities also confirmed that I was pregnant at the time. Investigators later said that the evidence at the scene was consistent with what they believed was a murder-suicide, identifying Matthew Mitchell as the suspected shooter. At the time of the initial investigation, police said there was no indication that anyone from outside the home had been involved. The news spread across Houston within hours. Friends, customers, co-workers, and neighbors struggled to process what had happened. Many described the loss as something they never imagined could happen to a family that seemed so successful and respected, a community searching for answers as investigators continued their work. One question echoed throughout Houston: why? At the time, police had not publicly announced a confirmed motive. Officials had not released evidence of a note, nor had they publicly identified a specific event that explained the tragedy. That left investigators with the difficult task of reconstructing the family's final days through interviews, digital records, and other evidence. Cases like this are especially challenging because the person believed responsible is also deceased, meaning there can be no interview, no trial, and no direct explanation. For the public, that uncertainty often becomes one of the hardest parts. People naturally search for warning signs after a tragedy, but sometimes those answers are not immediately available or may never be fully known. Meanwhile, flowers and memorials began appearing outside the family's home as Houston mourned not only a respected business leader, but also 2 young children whose lives ended far too soon. How investigators will try to find the truth as the investigation continued. Detectives faced one of the biggest challenges in criminal investigations. The person police believe was responsible was also dead. That means there would be no questioning, no courtroom testimony, and no opportunity to hear directly what happened inside that home. Instead, investigators would have to rebuild the final days of the Mitchell family piece by piece. They would likely examine phone records, emails, financial documents, security footage, and conversations with relatives, friends, and co-workers. Every detail could help paint a clearer picture of what life was like before the tragedy. Officials have not publicly confirmed a motive, and until they do, any explanation beyond the known facts would only be speculation. That is why this case continues to leave so many unanswered questions. Looking beyond the headlines, when stories like this make national news, many people focus only on the crime itself. But this tragedy is also about the people whose lives were lost. Di Mitchell was remembered by colleagues as someone who inspired others. Friends described her as hardworking, welcoming, and deeply committed to Houston's restaurant community. She wasn't simply helping manage a business. She was helping shape it. The restaurants she helped build became gathering places where families celebrated birthdays, anniversaries, and milestones. The restaurants also announced they would remain open, with staff continuing the work that Di had helped build. For many employees, returning to work was not just about serving food at IT, was about honoring someone they respected. AS investigators continue searching for answers. One fact remains unchanged: 0.4 lives and an unborn child were lost in a tragedy that shocked an entire city. And until more official information is released, the question that continues to echo throughout Houston remains the same. How could something like this happen? Understanding cases like this responsibly, as heartbreaking as this case is, it also reminds us why it's important to approach tragedies like this with care. When events are still under investigation, rumors can spread faster than facts. Social media often fills the gaps with theories, but those theories are not evidence. As of the publicly released information, investigators have said they believe this was a murder-suicide and that there was no indication of an outside suspect. However, they have not publicly confirmed a motive. That means the reasons behind what happened remain unknown. In situations like these, investigators carefully examine every available piece of evidence before reaching conclusions. They may review digital records, financial information, interviews with family and friends, and forensic evidence to better understand the final days leading up to the tragedy. Until those findings are officially released, the most responsible approach is to separate confirmed facts from speculation. A tragedy that Houston will never forget. For many people, the names Di Mitchell, Maya, and Max will always be remembered as more than headlines. Friends remembered Di as someone who welcomed others with warmth and helped build a restaurant that brought people together. Customers remembered family celebrations shared at travelers' table. Colleagues remembered her leadership, creativity, and passion for Houston's restaurant community. In the days after the tragedy, flowers, candles, and messages continued to appear outside the family's home, showing just how deeply this loss affected the city. While the investigation may eventually answer some questions, it may never answer all of them. Sometimes the hardest part of tragedies like this is accepting that not every why has a clear answer. If this story teaches us anything, it's that we should never assume we know what someone is going through based only on what we see from the outside. Thank you for watching. If you found this video thoughtful and respectful, consider subscribing for more carefully researched true crime stories. And if this case touched you, take a moment to remember Di Mitchell, her children, and everyone whose lives were forever changed by this heartbreaking tragedy.